20-goal forward Bryan Mbeumo is linked to 3 clubs in particular: Manchester United, Arsenal and Newcastle United. Today we're pushing the Red Devils and Gunners aside and setting our sights on the fit between Bryan Mbeumo and Eddie Howe's Toon army. The player, the stats, the strengths, the tactical fit, all covered in this video. Bryan Mbeumo, as you may know if you watch the Premier League, is a very prolific, direct, right-hand sided player who stars for Thomas Frank's Brentford. He and his strike partner, Johan Visser, have become a real force this season, almost becoming mid-table Premier League legends with 39 goals between them this season. They've been terrific, but it's Mbeumo we're discussing today. The Cameroon international joined Brentford in August 2019 from Troyes for a fee surrounding the £6 million mark, and since then he's played a significant role in Brentford rise from the Championship to a very well established, entertaining top division outfit. He's scored a total of 70 goals for the club in just over 200 appearances, enjoying his most prolific campaign just recently with some brilliant stats. If we take a look here at some of the figures that I've gathered, he's one of the league's leaders in attacking players. At 25, he's developed into one of the league's finest. But back onto the subject. We can gather his undeniable quality through his exceptional output, of course, but we can also see he's overperforming that output more than anyone else in the Premier League. Some will say this is unsustainable look, but I'd say that if you watch Mbeumo, this complements how deadly of a finisher he really is. Other stats tell you he's direct with his carries into the penalty area. They tell you he's creative through his key passes into the penalty area, his crosses, and they also detail that he's an excellent ball carrier. His stats this season are ridiculous. Since 2016, the only non-Big Six players to share more than 27 goals plus assists in a season are Romelu Lukaku, Jamie Vardy, Ollie Watkins and Alexander Isak. All of them are strikers too. So let's manoeuvre our way into how he's so brilliant before we combine Eddie Howe to that. Mbeumo operates in a 4-4-2/4-2-3-1 like shape for Brentford. On that right hand side, he operates best when supported by the fullback on his flank or an underlapping run. Let's start by talking about his shooting. His goal catalogue is truly brilliant. His goals vary from volleys, penalties, counter-attacks, left foot, right foot, any real scenario. His all-round quality when finishing on either foot allows him to improvise in attacking positions, which is why he's so prolific in his numbers. If the ball isn't quite hit with good accuracy, too much power, there's a deflection, then he can adjust his body, foot, position, etc. and still score. He thrives from any shooting position you put him in. He doesn't panic, take too many touches at all, which showcases his class in front of goal and just how good of a footballer he really is. His composure in front of the net is noticeable. He enjoys wrapping his left foot around the ball but can confidently finish on his right too. On his left foot, he wraps his boot around it well, looking for the bottom left corner a lot, but generates good power and speed onto the shots, giving the keeper no chance, often outside of the box whilst taking a defender on. When he's closer to the net and 1v1 with the goalkeeper, he can steer a side-footed shot into the bottom corner well, with complete composure. He's assured of it. He doesn't rush or take too long, but this is just a preference and pattern. As I've said, his goals vary. He can cut inside and hit at the near post like he did versus Arsenal. When he's got the space and time too, he'll put his foot through the ball like he did versus Southampton. Against Newcastle, you can see him beat Lewis Hall here and place the ball right into the top right. Unstoppable. So in general, he's just a quality finisher. He's got that X factor, the type of player who can go and win you a football match single-handedly. On his right foot, he's confident. He can strike the ball right into the corner, and in moments where the scenario favours his right foot, he doesn't reluctantly get it onto his left. He's confident, as I said. So he will strike the ball with no concern on his weaker foot, just as strongly, making him even more dangerous. This then adds on top to his ability to improvise and adjust to the imperfect scenarios a forward find themselves in. He attacks the box dangerously. His volleys are very dangerous, hit with good direction, but he avoids leaning back too much so the shot doesn't just fly over, so he shifts his body to the side more, meaning you don't want a floating ball to reach Bryan Mbeumo's left foot in the penalty area. When executed right, it becomes a very demanding task for the keeper to stop. However, shooting isn't his primary source of effectiveness. Let's look more into his game. Mbeumo loves driving into space on and off the ball with a running behind. He's fast, he makes clever runs in between the centre back and full back, like here, the example versus Brighton. Despite his 5'7" height, which I was shocked to find out, he's strongly built, allowing him to withhold any opposition pressure and battle physically with Premier League defenders. He's rarely ever shoved off the ball, making him a handful for opposition defenders. When receiving the pass, his first touch usually hits the side of either foot, his right foot a lot, very cleanly, staying very close to him, ready for a 1v1 and to drive forward. If the ball comes to him in the air, he uses his left to bring it down. He then runs at the fullback 1v1 with the ball controlled by his left foot. Then with his agility and close ball control, it makes it possible for him to go either way, resulting in a nightmare for the opposition fullback to defend. You're coming up against somebody fast, somebody two-footed, somebody who can beat you and go either way, and someone that's also a clinical finisher. So go too tight and he might skin you, but stand off, he might bury it in the back of the net. Even if you're a dominant, physical, duel-winning opponent, Mbeumo's a player in general who can control chaos, bring the ball down and attack the opposition directly. After he cuts inside, he either looks to cross, shoot or pass. He's ready for that next action, which is always forwards towards the goal. He's got good decision making in the final third. He knows how much to put in his crosses, his passes, his actions overall, so they're all very difficult to contain. With a fullback overlapping on his flank, it pins back the opposition fullback, unleashing him with more space to punish the opposition, which is why Michael Kyode's impact was huge. What I like about Mbeumo when I watch him, he doesn't rely too on his speed to beat a defender. He doesn't rely on making such heavy touches in space to attack. He's technical with the ball and very tricky, meaning he can beat a man, and he isn't purely just a counter-attacking forward. In deeper positions, he excels in tighter space as well. He helps them progress the ball successfully and consumes 1 to 2 numbers into him. He does it superbly in fact. When even deeper, he carries the ball forwards effectively as an outlet to get up the pitch, teasing opponents and bringing them into him. Within those tighter spaces and 1v1s, he's very fast and quick-footed, meaning he's very skillful, which ensures he can hold on to the ball brilliantly with his strength too to pair with that. So this isn't just a good suit for Newcastle, it would be a good fit for any Premier League team. For 50 to 60 to 70 million, you are getting a brilliant footballer, which is why I hope that brilliance combines with the northeast of England. Eddie Howe's Newcastle have had another successful season, a trophy and Champions League football. It's time to build on that, and Mbeumo represents that next level signing Eddie Howe should be provided with. This could be Newcastle's team next season with the rumours floating around. Of course, Mark Gahey is linked too, but what stands out in the side is the physicality and athleticism, 2 components very important in an Eddie Howe team, but 2 components that are immensely important in the Premier League today. You see, you don't want to shift too far over towards the physical theme within a squad and completely forget the technical ability that wins you football matches. So Mbeumo gives you a great mix of that with athleticism. Newcastle off the ball choose when and when not to press, and when they do so, they do it high, aggressively, and man to man. When pushed back into their own half, they step back instead of a constant high energy pressing team, mostly in a 4-5-1. This is always flexible too to create a back 5, like a 5-4-1. It could be Jacob Murphy as the right wing back, or Jensen tucking into the back line. And as you can see, Mbeumo slides right into all of this. In this man-to-man high-pressing system, Mbeumo would be an immense presser. The sheer energy of Gordon, Isak, Mbeumo, Bruno, Tonry, Jensen would be devastating. The physicality that comes with that too is absolutely frightening. It's such a perfect fit off the ball. Mbeumo can launch onto that defender with some speed, making Eddie Howe's team an even better pressing side than it already is. It's an area I've not touched on, but off the ball he is a very aggressive presser, which translates to the tackling once he's arrived at that man. Newcastle could suffocate teams with Mbeumo there. Once they are deeper and he's striking back, he does so well and isn't an area of his game that's lost on him. After all, he does play for Thomas Frank. Now I emphasise Mbeumo's off the ball work because it's perhaps one of the most integral demands into what it takes to play for Eddie Howe. But another demand is actually what you do with the ball. Newcastle's play on the ball varies in how they attack. Some teams will press them high, fearlessly, like your Bournemouths, your Brightons. Then some teams will sit off, like Nottingham Forest and the relegation sides. So the space they can access varies each game. They're not a Liverpool or Arsenal or Man City where teams will put 11 men behind the ball, but some teams will aim to do that. So some games will have more space than others, meaning someone like Mbeumo helps them in all different scenarios. Mbeumo versus teams that sit back can break down a team via his individual quality, his ability in general play to control chaos, his box attacking, physicality, finishing, dribbling, his everything. Against higher pressing teams that attack more, Mbeumo will be deadly on the break for Newcastle with his clever runs, his ability to drive into space, his speed. In his time at Brentford he's often lacked support by the fullback, so at Newcastle this would unleash him more and the attack even more. Up until Jacob Murphy's resurgence, the Toons have always lacked that player on the right. They've tried Barnes here, Gordon here, Murphy, Jensen, so Mbeumo completely drowns their right wing sorrows instantly. Mbeumo hands Eddie Howe another key in dismantling the bigger teams and even the bigger teams in Europe next year. Those sides where Newcastle have to sit in against, they'll be able to punish on the break with this signing. Eddie Howe needs this signing. I truly believe it. I truly believe it takes Newcastle to an even bigger level, especially if they bring in even more reinforcements and keep the likes of Isak, Bruno and their star players. Thank you for watching today's video. If you did enjoy, make sure to smash a like and subscribe to the channel. What club do you think Bryan Mbeumo should join? Should it be Newcastle? Should it be Man United? Or should it even be Arsenal, who have been recently linked? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.